What's going on, guys? Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, what's going on in Washington, D.C., in the United States, money, investing, and the next stimulus package, the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, which is in the House of Representatives. And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer have announced that they have a deal today. Check this out.
The White House, the House, and the Senate have reached agreement on a framework that will pay for any final negotiated agreement. So the revenue side of this, okay? Thank you. The framework, an agreement of a framework.
But even though Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi have agreed a Senate-House deal on the tax framework, basically how they're going to pay for the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, there's still a lot of questions regarding this. Yeah, there's still a lot of questions. Check this out.
On this in the rank and file, even some of the key chairmen of the committees are still in the dark about what exactly this means. And what this means, what I'm told, is that an agreement about some of the options they could do for pay for this massive plan. And this agreement was reached about these options to pay for the plan among the Democratic leaders, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, you saw there, as well as the key chairman of the committees who are in charge of tax writing, Ron Wyden on the Senate side, Richie Neal on the House side, and the administration itself. But what they don't have is an agreement among the moderate Democrats who need to provide the votes for this massive expansion of the social safety net. They also don't have an agreement among the progressives, and those discussions will continue about everything about what's in here, the details, and the price tag. Now, later today, moderate Democrats are meeting with White House officials who are coming to Capitol Hill to talk about these financing options and whether they can actually get behind this. So it's clear that there's no agreement yet among some of the key members. Now, John, I tried to press Speaker Pelosi at this press conference about what exactly this agreement means, and she made clear they still don't have an agreement on the price tag.
This is not about price tag. This is about what's in the bill. For children, what's in the bill? It's not about a price tag or anything. It's about values, not dollars.
Well, the price tag is, of course, significant here because what they're talking about initially was a $3.5 trillion plan, just a significant amount of investment in all aspects of the economy, raising taxes on corporations and wealthy individuals. But moderates like Joe Manchin and others want that price tag around less than $2 trillion. Progressives want more than $3 trillion. And that means there's a significant amount of debate that still has to be had. And John, this is all tied to that key vote that is happening on Monday over that separate infrastructure package that passed the Senate last month. Pelosi is not saying explicitly that she will still move forward with that vote on Monday, but that's also significant because those progressive members in her caucus are threatening to vote against that plan, sink that plan if that larger deal is not agreed to. So much work has to be done and a lot of questions.
More questions. More questions, I think, now than before they announced this quote-unquote framework. Monteraju, appreciate the hustle up on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, so on one hand, it's really good that the House and the Senate are working together because that will actually speed up the process. We actually might see them pass the same bill and not pass separate bills. That could actually speed up the process significantly. But on the other hand, it does not seem like they're working with Senator Joe Manchin or the progressives in a way. So in one way, they're doing a good thing. They're working. The House and the Senate have not worked together and passed bills, notably the third stimulus check package. Remember, the House passed a completely different bill than the Senate. They actually worked just completely different. And now they're actually working together. We have Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi working together. Remember that they're passing this bill without Republicans. We're not going to get a single Republican vote for this fourth stimulus package, and we didn't get a single Republican vote for the third stimulus check package, just so everybody's clear with that. But even with that being said, the Democrats with the third stimulus check package didn't work with each other with the House and the Senate. So at least now it seems like the House and the Senate Democrats are working together. But with that being said, the moderate Democrats and the progressive Democrats doesn't seem like they're working together. Yeah, believe it or not. Now, with that being said, Democrats and Republicans need to work together at this point, per se, to get the government shutdown done before the end of the month, or else we might see a government shutdown and the debt limit ceiling, or else the government's going to default sometime in October, which is in 7 days. Republicans have voted no to all of this here in a vote that happened within like the last 48 hours. They're saying that the Democrats need to do this on their own through the reconciliation process, the next stimulus package, which the Democrats can do. But Democrats are saying they don't know if they can do this in time. And we're starting to see more and more Democrats saying they want to do it, but they don't know if they can because the reconciliation process, the stimulus package bill, which they're picking up here, they have a deal now on the infrastructure or the stimulus package to pay for. So in a way, the Republicans actually might be speeding up the process of the stimulus package. But we'll have to see if this gets done. Here's Senator Bernie Sanders on this whole process, and check out what he has to say here. And remember that Senator Bernie Sanders is the Senate Budget Chairman. He's the person in charge of the reconciliation process, which is the process of how they're passing the stimulus package with only 50 or 51 votes. And he's the person considered largely in charge of the entire stimulus package in its entirety. So keep that in mind.
Mr. President, as chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, I want to say a few words about some of the important budgetary issues that Congress is now facing. I want to focus on the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, but before I do that, I want to comment on the looming debt ceiling crisis that we face. Mr. President, Republican leader Mitch McConnell this morning once again reiterated that the Republican Party will not vote to lift the debt ceiling, and in an extraordinarily irresponsible manner, Republicans have indicated that they will not pay the debts incurred under the Trump administration. In his statement, as he has done time and time again, Senator McConnell implies that this debt ceiling has something to do with future spending. It does not. Like anyone who owns a credit card, the payments that are made are for past spending. In this case, spending incurred under the Trump administration. And let us be clear. If the United States, the largest economy in the world, defaults on its debt, it will plunge not only our country, but the entire global economy into what could become a severe economic depression. That means massive unemployment, higher interest rates, severe reduction in government services, and possible cuts in such programs as Social Security and Medicare. The irresponsibility of the Republican leadership is not just something that I worry about.
So, guys, I want to replay this section here for you again because we've seen this, and this is very, very important because a lot of people have been asking this question here, and we've seen this said multiple times, and I want to show you the section again here. So watch this section here, right here, because this is very, very important. A lot of people have been asking this question. You'll see this right here.
Country, but the entire global economy into what could become a severe economic depression. That means massive unemployment, higher interest rates, severe reduction in government services, and possible cuts in such programs as Social Security and Medicare.
So yeah, I'll just pause it right there. Bernie Sanders says that if the debt limit ceiling is not raised or suspended, that we could see cuts or paused in payments or something like that to such programs such as Social Security, and we've seen in different articles and different statements by Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Bernie Sanders here, different articles by NBC and Bloomberg and all sorts of different news outlets that basically anything the government pays, such as Social Security, Medicare, child tax credit payments, payments to the military, anything the government has to do with paying out money could be in jeopardy if they don't raise the debt limit ceiling, which is going to be sometime in October. The government is going to run out of money. Yeah. And Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says that we don't know when the government's going to run out of money. They can't predict the exact day. It's going to be sometime in October. It's basically like the government going bankrupt temporarily until they raise this debt limit. And remember that all the Republicans in the House just voted no to not raise the debt limit ceiling. They're essentially voting to let the country go into bankruptcy temporarily. Mitch McConnell saying that the Democrats should be forced to do it on their own through reconciliation, which is all nice and dandy. I think the Democrats are going to try to do it, but if they can do it in time, I don't know if they're going to be able to. I'm starting to see more and more articles and statements from Democrats like this here from Bloomberg that says key lawmaker says the Democrats probably lack the time to raise the debt limit on their own, from Democratic Representative John Yarmuth. Yeah, so if the Democrats don't have the time to raise the debt limit on their own, and the Republicans are refusing to do it, what's going to happen?
Reduction in government services and possible cuts in such programs as Social Security and Medicare. The irresponsibility of the Republican leadership is not just something that I, according to press reports, former Republican Secretaries of State, Secretaries of Treasury, Hank Paulson, who worked under George W. Bush, and Steven Mnuchin, who worked under Donald Trump, Republican Secretaries of the Treasury, both of them visited with Senator McConnell to make the case about the need to extend the debt ceiling. They understand, as I think all of us do, how important it is that the United States of America does not default on its debt, and it is about time that my Republican colleagues listened to them. Now, let me say a word about the $3.5 trillion reconciliation. There has been a lot of talk lately about the need to compromise. Well, let me be clear. To a very significant degree, that has already taken place. Of the 11 Democratic members of the Senate Budget Committee, 9 understood the need for a $6 trillion, which would finally address the unmet needs, the long ignored needs of the working families of our country, as well as begin the process of tackling the existential threat of climate change. My guess is that at least 40 out of the 50 members of the Democratic caucus supported the $6 trillion proposal. We compromised big time. We cut that proposal, or agreed to cut that proposal, almost in half, down to $3.5 trillion. That, Mr. President, to my mind, is a major, major compromise. And as we go forward in this, let me be as clear as I can be as to why every penny of that $3.5 trillion is absolutely needed. And let me also make clear that this bill, despite some of the rhetoric coming from my Republican colleagues, will not add, should not add, and will not add one nickel to the deficit. It will be paid for. It will be paid for by finally demanding that some of the wealthiest people in this country, who in any given year, we're talking about multi-billionaires, who in a given year do not pay a nickel in federal income tax, or dozens of large profitable corporations that in a given year do not pay a nickel in federal income tax.
Yeah, so you heard Senator Bernie Sanders. They're still not budging from the $3.5 trillion. And there's only Senator Joe Manchin and maybe a few moderates that want it to be less. But they need Senator Joe Manchin to vote yes, or else they can't pass the bill. They need every single Democratic senator to get those 50 votes because, again, they're not going to get a single vote from any Republican. It would be a lot easier if we could get any Republican votes to pass this next stimulus package. And then we also have to have another bill to have a government shutdown, to prevent a government shutdown and the debt limit ceiling by the end of this, or else the government will shut down. That's one issue. And then we have the debt limit ceiling, which is going to have to happen sometime in October or before then. The government shutdown and the debt limit ceiling are actually two different issues. There is a combined bill that has passed the House that is now going to go to the Senate, where we have not heard when they're going to vote on this yet. The problem is that we're going to need 60 votes to pass that in the Senate. So we'll need 50 Democrats and at least 10 Republican senators. But we didn't get any Republicans to vote yes on it in the House. So it does not look like it'll pass in the Senate unless some Republicans change their mind. So meanwhile, Mitch McConnell, the leader of the Republicans in the Senate, says that the GOP, the Republicans, will vote for the U.S. to default on its debt on this bill. So when this bill goes to the Senate, that the Republicans will vote no on this bill, and the Republicans will vote instead to let the government default and to let the government shut down. Can't make this stuff up, guys. So it looks like at this point we are headed for a government shutdown and a government default. Mitch McConnell says that the Democrats are going to be forced to pass this on their own through reconciliation. But also remember that Democrats are saying that they lack the time to raise the debt limit on their own and that they might not be able to do it in time to prevent a government shutdown or a default. So something's got to give. Something's got to give. That's why I like to show you these headlines directly from Bloomberg, directly from Business Insider, directly from these that show you the interviews, directly from the sources, directly from the senators themselves, so that this stuff is true. I spend hours and hours and hours every day, me and my wife, bringing these stuff up, so you guys get this all condensed down into a short YouTube video with the latest information. So make sure to subscribe down below. I'll keep you up to date with everything. The next stimulus package, the next infrastructure package, which is supposed to be voted on Monday. The stimulus package is supposed to be passed before then. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'll keep you up to date on both those, as well as the debt limit ceiling that needs to be raised or suspended, which is kind of similar things. Or else the government is going to default and run out of money, and a government shutdown that is going to happen on the 30th at midnight, September 30th. All these 4 things that need to happen very, very soon, or we're going to face a lot of issues, and I will keep you up to date on all of them. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.